Good evening, everybody, and we are back with another Cosmic Human Design podcast. If you haven't seen us before, be prepared to be amazed. Me, Richard, and JARIN have stumbled upon something that is groundbreaking. This will change your life and the way you can do business, the way you can have relationships, the way you can have a relationship with yourself, all kinds of things. And I'm sure other people have heard of human design before, but this is cosmic human design. A little difference there, because we are using true sidereal astrology instead, and it matched perfect, like a glove and a hand. So that was the difference there, and it's just been amazing since. Everybody's in harmony with what is going on here, and these two have been coaching right along many people and getting them prepared in their life for accomplishing amazing things. All right, everybody, this is JARIN KENYON. He is a traveling motivational speaker and manifestation teacher and cosmic human design coach. He's always traveling around. He's in paradise right now, of course. How you doing today, JARIN?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I got a little too much sun today, a little too much paradise out there today, but shout out to Tina.
Yes.
Hi, family. It's good to see you, Tina.
Absolutely.
We consider ourselves a family, you know, extended family, and that's something that cosmic design does. We call it the internet of human beings. You know, it shows us how we are connected, how we connect to the World Wide Web, meaning the loving, giving, abundant universe and/or God, the creator, the creation that we are part of, and how we uniquely blend with one another. So cool thing. And I think family, number 37, gate 37, gene key 37 is a great way to say hello, Tina. So hi.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, we have the professor. That's right. Professor Richard Mason there. He's a Yale graduate and helped us put this cosmic human design together with all the mathematics of the new true sidereal. And, you know, Richard, how complicated was that to do what you did?
You know, Greg, now that I look back on it, over a year later, I really don't know how I did it. You know, it's like, just, you know, so many things kind of had to line up for me to be able to put all that together and actually come up with a working, you know, chart calculator. You know, it took a lot of, you know, programming, a lot of research on, you know, every aspect of human design, you know, to make sure I really understood it. I really knew what I was doing. But yeah, man, you know, I was, you know, inspired by the cosmos to put this together. And it's in line with the, dare I say, the cosmic wheel, the cosmic harmony for this system to come out and for, you know, everyone to see it.
Yeah, and isn't it amazing when you're driven by the cosmos or the universe or God or whatever your system is that's pushing you forward to blossom into something you never thought you'd be doing. And, you know, all of a sudden, Richard's inspired by JARIN to go out there and try to break this system down and to make it new. And boy, what a challenge that was. But it's great because now we have it. And now we've, you know, this has been, over a year now, hasn't it? That Cosmic Human Design has been around. And so now we have it tested. People are in harmony with it. No longer waiting 7 years to figure out if their design is working for them or not. That's what they would tell you in human design. And as JARIN says, the real system is here now. We're no longer using that fake system. So everybody, you can go to cosmichumandesign.com and get your free chart if you haven't yet. And you can figure out what you are and your power pyramid and go from there. But yeah, this is amazing stuff. And we can use it in all kinds of things, including building businesses around it. And I think that's the future of everything here. Building the new earth and new businesses around this cosmic human design stuff. So Well, I have an interesting TikTok video I'd like to show to start off with, because I had a question after I watched this, and I said, why not give it to the experts? We'll see what happens here. All right, let's take a look here. Whoops. Hang on. I made a boo-boo. There we go. All right. Here we go. This is the TikTok video.
Most people are meant to sleep alone. Yeah, I said it. Alone. In human design, we each have an energy type, which is our aura. And our aura, or our energy, spans about 6 feet around us in every direction. Manifestors have a closed and repelling aura, projectors have a focused and absorbing aura, generators have an open and enveloping and magnetic aura, reflectors have a mirroring and sampling aura. Each aura is unique and tells you how your energy is meant to operate in its highest alignment as your true self. The channeler of human design and the founder of the whole system stated that when we're sleeping, we have something called a sleep design, because when we're sleeping is when we're the most vulnerable to taking in conditioning from our surroundings and our environment. You have something called a sleep chart that will tell you your exact aura and where you're susceptible to taking in energy when you're sleeping. Most people are completely open and reflectors, so you need to be sleeping alone because you're taking in the person you're sleeping with or sleeping around's energy while you're sleeping. This can cause illness, sickness, and just not feeling like yourself.
All right, gentlemen, what do we think about that one right there? Sleeping, I never thought about sleeping in human design and being influenced in your sleep, not, at least not by your dreams, but by your partner, by someone you're sleeping next to. Can this happen? Can we be affected and molded and shaped around their design?
Take it away, Richard.
Yeah, Greg. So, what they're talking about there is the fact that according to Ra, when we sleep, we are horizontal, which changes the way that we are taking in the neutrino information. You saw in that video, the person was flipped, it was on its side. So that, there's a, the neutrinos that were coming in, they're now at a perpendicular angle than what they were before. So it's called the dream rave. And there's even like courses, human design courses and everything, focused on that, on just that, the study of sleeping. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very, very interesting idea, should you sleep alone? Is human design really saying that? Personally, in my opinion, I think that it's a bit, harsh to say you should sleep alone, although it makes some sense. And when I think about it, it's a real effect. It has a real effect, whether or not you sleep alone, and you can start to notice over time, differences, changes in a way who you are, whether you're sleeping alone or not. So in my personal opinion, I would say that, it's not necessarily something that you have to do. It's not something that you have to do, but, yeah, try it out. Try it out.
Well, in my past, teaching classes, I would bring up sleep patterns a lot, but not as specific as, laying horizontally and then looking at what your sleep chart is. I've actually never personally done that. And when she said most people are reflectors when they do that, it's interesting. It's new to me. However, I will say this, as a general type rule, I've always recommended projectors and reflectors to have 1 day a week where they do sleep alone, to get out of the generator pump, especially if they're laying next to a generator or a manifesting generator. Again, not that you need to, not that you have to. And for me, it's definitely not every day, but once a week I've seen over and over. And I know some projectors who have done that just so that they can, have the pump off, because your pump's not designed to be running all the time. So to a certain level, laying next to a generator MG, you got the pump on. Same thing with the emotional emotional authority there. I've experienced feeling emotions in my undefined solar plexus as well. So, I think it's anything in balance, nothing in extreme. But to say that there's relevance to it I think is absolutely true, because anytime you're near anyone else, you're not just the pure you. You have some other energy that's being combined and causing some kind of catalytic energy and hormones even going through your body as a result.
Yeah, I got to say, this is it's a complicated life. You're dealing with the matrix, you're dealing with the constant daily stresses and everything else, and then we're talking about who you're sleeping next to. You never think about that, right? You never think that maybe my partner is influencing me to an extent, or especially as a projector, I like time to myself. I need time to kind of decompress in my own way. And a lot of times, if it's a generator or somebody around me, they want attention, or they want something, and you're like, okay. And you try to explain, I'm trying to get time to myself so I can recharge. This is how I do it. And, you have to find the people around you that are going to understand you. And that's the beauty of cosmic human design, is that when people understand this and you speak the language of cosmic human design, now you have really good a footing to say, listen, I need time to myself. It's part of my design. Absolutely, you're right. So when you're talking in your relationships and friendships and everything else, we get overwhelmed by certain people because of their design compared to our design, right? And they may fuel off of our design, but they're not giving anything back, depending on how they're acting, right? If it's ego driven.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to escape that. You have to figure out that, is this person healthy or not for me? And like she said, maybe if you're a reflector or you have a lot of openness to you when you're sleeping next to somebody, it can affect you even greater. So pretty interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Thought it was a cool one.
One more quick little note out there for those of you hermits out there. I could see why hermits in your profile also could feel as if you'd like to be alone occasionally too. So I would say, outside of just the types that I went to, I think that there's a propensity that might be healthy for the hermit to have, a day a week again. If you're with your partner, great, but maybe a day a week where you get on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. So good stuff there. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Richard, would you like to go into the daily, or you want to get into your other interesting thing here? You had the secrets of all ages.
Let's look at the daily.
All right, let's take out the daily. All right, it's like Jeopardy, the daily, right? The double daily, whatever it was.
Daily double.
Daily double. There it is. I couldn't remember.
You almost got it.
Almost. All right, I'm gonna bring that on over. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's your daily chart for the day. And Richard, what do we got? We got the sun at 24.2. What's going on here?
Yeah, we got the 24 today, which is very, very interesting because, the 24 is called the return. And essentially what it means is it's returning to cosmic harmony, returning to the cosmos. It's an inevitable cosmic principle that everything which separates from the cosmos eventually will return to it. And in the human realm, this translates to, at the shadow frequency, kind of like repetitive behaviors. Addiction is the shadow of the 24. Replaying the same thought over and over until it makes sense. Turning something over, seeing it from every angle. Just keep on thinking about it until it makes sense. It's in the knowing circuit. So this is an individual sense of knowing. You see that it's in the ajna center. So it's very much a, mental kind of thing that's going on here. And it connects to the 61, which is also we also have defined today. So that entire channel is active for everyone today, and that's the channel of knowing, of this kind of satori enlightenment type of knowing, you know, the kind that's just there, and you don't know how, you know, you don't know how you know what you know. It's just boom, it's just there. It's a revelation, and yeah, it doesn't require evidence or logic. That's for the other side of it. The fourth gate, which you see is right beside the 24, is more the gate of logic. And on the other side, the 47 is more of the right brain abstract thinking. So the 24 is right between those two. It's between the left and the right brain, and kind of synthesizes both of those different mental faculties. Yeah, and on the flip side of that, well, I will say the 24, the gift is invention. The 24 is my SQ actually in the Gene Keys Golden Path. So I'm pretty familiar with this one. So we've got addiction at the shadow, invention, and then silence at the highest frequency, the city. And what silence is it referring to? Well, the silence of your own mind. You know, if your mind is silent, if you allow your mind to be silent, then it becomes actually open to all kinds of cosmic inspiration, you know, versus your mind constantly repeating the same thing over and over, which is why it does the shadow frequency in you know, the sense of addiction. People become addicted to many different things, and they just repeat the same patterns over and over. And, you know, the 24, it's also got a lot to do with reincarnation, the concept of reincarnation, you know, going around this great cosmic wheel over and over throughout throughout different lifetimes. You know, the transmigration of souls. You know, Pythagoras called it metempsychosis. I love that word for some reason. But yeah, the sense of return, you know, it's returning. So yeah, examine your life today and see, you know, are you returning to something that you left, or, you know, are you coming back to something over and over again today? You know, can you not stop thinking about a few particular things, stuff like that. And on the flip side, let me just say we have the 44. I believe this one is very big in JARIN's chart, if I'm not mistaken. The 44 brings with it the concept of the synarchy, and I love this one because it, you know, it's really this futuristic utopian social reality that, you know, it is here, is coming. You know, the synarchy, and that's the highest frequency of the 44, by the way, the synarchy. In general, the 44 deals with instinctual tribal memory. And so it's the ability to be able to speak differently to different people, you know, to intuitively sense, oh, well, this person is this, you know, they're this, they have this ancestry, they believe in this and that, and so maybe I should talk to them differently, you know, so that they will understand. The ability to, you know, relate to many different types of people. And that's what the synarchy really is all people coming together, you know, in harmony, where everyone has the right place and everyone is satisfied with the amount of responsibility that they each have. It doesn't mean everyone's going to be equal in terms of responsibility or power or wealth, but everyone is going to have exactly what they need, you know, which is, and be completely satisfied in that particular place as well. So that's, you know, kind of what's coming in the synarchy. Very interesting one, that 44. I really like that one. Which, by the way, now that I'm looking at it, we also have the the channel of penetrating awareness, the 2750, or the 2057 today as well. So yeah, we got two channels active today. Pay lots of attention to those.
3 actually, Richard. Believe it or not, we actually got the 51 to 25.
Oh, we got the 51 to 25.
Speaking of shock and
Wow.
awe, and yeah.
Wow, that's pretty uncommon to have 3 channels defined by the by one day. It all in the personality. So
totally. Yeah, you explained that super well, Richard. That was really good. And I think that, we see the 57 to 20, which you just mentioned, and the 20 is in the moon. So I always look at the moon, aside from the sun and the earth. Moon's incredibly powerful, obviously with emotion, feeling, deeper levels, but also what we attract to us. And the 20 is about presence in the higher self of it. It's the quantity of your consciousness. It's your awareness behind your power. How much are you generating in the present through self-assuredness? So being self-assured, self-confident, assure in yourself, assure in the universe, feeling oneness and part of the process and being okay with that, as opposed to the shadow, which also has to do with superficiality. And when you think about that, I could say that would be the materialistic model, or something outside to fill a gap inside. So strong energy towards how we feel about ourselves and our connection to the universe, and how strong we feel within ourselves, which to me, whenever we hear things like this, it always goes back to our strategy and our authorities as far as how we choose to interact with these kind of energies and how we choose to engage, with the week in the sense. Okay, so we're talking about today and for the next few days. And then I noticed 55, we always talk about that gate, right? The power of the 55, the victimhood to freedom, the key transformation of the old human being to the new human being, from mental to feeling first society and humans. And it's in the Mars and Jupiter. So pretty strong, and the masculine, the Mars, the activity, the going after things, could spike your victimhood versus your freedom. Again, how self-assured are you in feelings? See how these can connect. And then it's in the Jupiter, which means it's the teacher and it makes everything bigger. So big education on some of the concepts we're talking about here today, but to go along with the theme of the almost the unknown shock, the unknown awe, and the changes that people may be going through. I mean, and to have 3 conditioning centers in one day is a lot. That's the first thing I noticed. I was like, whoa. And then when Richard was so good at explaining the 2444, I was able to pop through some of these other gates and think, man, this is an interesting combo of a day we have.
All right, so let me ask you guys this question. In the next few days, with what we're talking about here, what's a couple of good practices to do to help enhance this energy that we have going on?
Well, one I would recommend is to contemplate the sun, the 24, the 24, which is going to be with us all week. Contemplate invention. What is invention? What does it mean? What's the spirit behind the word? And in contemplating that spirit, you can bring it into yourself and you can invent yourself, which means creating new things with passion and, enjoyment and, stumbling upon new things that, really catch you by surprise. So just imagine that that's going to happen in your life, that in the next few days, you're going to come up with some new idea and it's just going to instantly be there. It's like channeling the spirit of invention inside yourself. So that's what I would recommend. Really contemplate And you can do that with the other ones as well. I would take those six, the six that form the three channels, and in fact, I'm probably going to do that myself, and contemplate those six gates, and yeah, really feel them, really try and feel the energy, and imagine that the energy is coming into your own life right now. And you know, it will happen.
Wow. Powerful stuff there.
I was gonna say, did that inspire you, Mr. Projector over there? The end of that with invention and
of course, right? Yes. I'm always trying to internally download from the universe and come up with something new. It's amazing how much of my day, without me even doing it now, subconsciously, I'm always looking for things to inspire me for my next creation. And, it'll be like a song in the car. I'll be all of a sudden hear a lyric and I'm like, oh, I like that lyric. And I'll write it in my phone or something, to try to make sure I remember that line. Now, sometimes I'll write something down and I'll come back to it and I won't be as inspired anymore. I'm like, why did I write that down? What was the, and I can't quite get it in that moment. I think that's a projector thing anyways. Sometimes if you're not in the moment and doing it, then you'll lose that memory of that inspiration. But I always love that tingle inside when you feel something coming on, like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do next. And it just takes an inch to go a foot. And amazing.
My quick answer to this, besides the standard rules for me, you set your intention, get your attention on where you wish to go, and feel as if you're already there. Feel as if you're already that person, your next step in your evolution. Having said that, then strategy and authority. Always follow your personal strategy and authority as you traverse the time and the conditioning field of experience. But this combination, I see not only the ability to feel and allow and be open and be inventive of the unknown. I see a lot of ability to take action on who you are and where you wish to go. I mean, you have the I am to the I want, I need, in the 51 to 25 here, and you also have the 21 activated, which is that, initiatory authority towards something. So not necessarily saying go after everything in an invasion or, with external force of trying too hard, but in the sense of your self-assuredness, your strength, the time you're putting into your contemplation and your intention, and then going forward with confidence and knowing that it will create a ripple effect that I believe is pretty powerful these few days.
Sounds fantastic, guys. That was a great daily. I thought we had a great conversation there, and I think the audience enjoyed it as well. All right. Now, Richard, you sent me something here, and it's called The Secret of All Ages. Secret of All Ages. Wow. The Secret Teachings of All Ages. This is amazing.
Yeah, we love Richard's books and stuff here. So this is a new one. So I can't wait.
It's not as long as it usually is, guys.
All right.
It's not a novel.
He's cut down a little bit here. All right. We'll see, Richard. We'll see. But it's great. All right. So we got The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And this is quite the picture here on this book.
Yeah, it's a pretty famous book by Manly P. Hall, Secret Teachings of All Ages. Which is basically a compendium, an encyclopedia of, esoteric stuff. He talks about the mystery schools and all the, fraternities and, different things throughout history, where people have been involved in that kind of thing. He talks about the Kabbalah, about, Christianity, paganism, and all this, really mind-blowing stuff. And so, it just kind of blew me away. And you'll see why once I read you these quotes I have here. But first of all, notice that the logo of the Jovian Archive Corporation, which is the official human design, company created by Ra, has the exact same picture as the secret teachings of all ages.
Wow.
Now that is very interesting. So you can see it's, kind of on the left there, but it's, still the same.
Absolutely.
Same picture. And so I read this again recently, this book, and I noticed some things that I didn't notice before that really, now that, we're doing this cosmic human design, really stood out to me. So let's go through some of these quotes here and see what those are all about. So for example, the first one, the allegory of the self murdered by the not self is perpetuated through the religious mysticism of all peoples. So he was talking about the resurrection myths, which are a ton throughout the world. In pretty much every different religion, there's some dying god who is later resurrected. For example, in the Egyptian mythos, Osiris is killed by Set and then, dismembered. And then Isis has to go around and collect all the different parts, except for his penis. For some reason, she can't find that. But I always
They got lost. They got lost in the shuffle, huh?
But I love how he phrases it. The self is murdered by the not self. He's saying that is what these myths actually represent. That this is an allegory, hidden allegory. So Osiris is the self, and Set, the guy who kills him, is the not self, which is exactly what I've been talking about with the ego. What the ego does.
For sure.
And the ego is in every person. And so this is a profound kind of thing here where, it's telling you to, look inside yourself for the answers.
Go ahead, Jarin. You got something to say?
No, you say what you're going to say. Okay. I'm reading the second one and saying, whoa, I love it. Okay. So
I just want to say there's a scene in The Peaceful Warrior, a really good movie about Dan Millman, who was a Olympic athlete, and he had a horrific injury that took him out of the Olympics, and he didn't know what to do with his life after that. It was everything he ever dreamed of. So he had to go on a self journey. And in one scene, he fights his ego self with his self on a ledge, and they were trying to push each other off the ledge. And the ego looks at him and says, "What are you going to be without me? You don't know." And so pretty interesting there. And it reminds me a lot of what you just read there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's look at the other one here. Jarin said he really liked this one. Thus, suffering is the result of the immortal man's falling in love with his own shadow and giving up reality to dwell in the darkness of illusion. Whoa. Jarin, what do you think about that one?
Well, first of all, I like the awesome word, but also the trigger word of the immortal man. Who would that be? Who would that be at its core? All of us.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, these are deep, Richard. These are deep. We got to have a real smart audience tonight. I hope everybody's paying attention here. But this is amazing here. Philosophy's always been a big passion of mine. I love philosophical people, statements, and some of the great readings out there. And in some ways, I believe comics can be philosophers as well, especially like a George Carlin or somebody who takes modern day problems and shows you the philosophy in a comedy routine. Amazing stuff here. you know, you could go down so many different angles with these statements.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something that a lot of people do on an everyday basis. They give up what they could potentially have to dwell in the darkness of illusion. They give up reality to dwell in illusion. Think about it. How many illusions do we have active in the world today that millions of people are obsessed with? You know, I mean, most movies, most fiction novels are illusion, fantasy that can consume your time, at the very least.
And we talk the word shadow in there, right? We talk about shadow self, right? And dealing with your shadows in spirituality. There's big, deep courses and lessons in dealing with your shadow self. And pretty interesting there. You know, living in that shadow, putting all of your energy into the darkness, into the illusion. That's where all your energy is going all day. Instead of just being immortal, right? Instead of being that powerful self, we're putting it all in this fake movie, so to speak, the projector self, right? We're projecting the movie on the screen in front of us and saying, "Oh, this is my movie, and there's my mom, and there's my dad, and there's my friend, and there's my boss," and it's all this like illusionary stuff, and we're not really ever going inside and really understanding who we truly are. Everything's external in that movie, that fakeness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good point, Greg. And then what happens is through the attachment and through people, forgetting who they really are and the oneness of the movie you're speaking of, then that external world becomes a force over us instead of a reflective field that from the higher self of us seeing things in neutrality would have light and dark and all kinds of themes, but knowing that it's all an illusion and all of it can change and all of it is a reflection of your own process and your own choices and your own idea of who you are. And this is strong stuff. And why we also love cosmic human design, everybody, besides lower virtues of the shadows of the gene keys or the ego, collective ego that we speak of, even in the false sense of time, that's a matrix system of a false reality that we believe most people have been governed through with the old tropical astrology system that many have followed. So using the true sidereal astrology, it's getting you in touch with reality in the sense of the real loving, giving universe, which is reflective of the real you, the real loving, giving, receiving you when you start to be yourself. So we've been, tricked in a lot of different ways in this graduation that we're going under right now as human beings as we're rising. And this is a way to get you back onto the path to help you be you so that you're not in a false illusionary reality.
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, let's look at the next one here. So this is at once the primary purpose and the consummate achievement of the mysteries that man shall become aware of and consciously be reunited with the divine source of himself without tasting of physical dissolution, i.e. death. He's saying that, this is the real purpose of all the mystery schools, all the effort they've strived and went through to preserve that, secret knowledge, which was being attacked by so many people throughout history have tried to destroy this, this ancient wisdom of the mystery schools. He's saying what it's all about really is reuniting while you're still alive, reuniting with your true self, which is exactly what, as JARIN just said, cosmic human design is designed to do. Oh, this next one is really crazy. I had no idea that this was even a thing, but apparently the Iliad is an allegory as well. for this. Let's look here. The wooden horse of Troy, secreting an army for the capture of the city, represents man's body concealing within it those infinite potentialities, which will later come forth and conquer his environment. Again, like Noah's Ark, it represents the spiritual nature of man as containing a host of latent potentialities which subsequently become active. The siege of Troy is a symbolic account of the abduction of the human soul, Helen, by the personality of Paris, and its final redemption through persevering struggle by the secret doctrine. The Greek army under the command of Agamemnon,
Wow.
What the?
That's pretty
but
cool.
It makes some sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, that I remember that scene from the movie Troy there with Brad Pitt when they snuck in and they did that. And yeah, that's pretty interesting that we kind of keep a lot of things inside as we grow. And then when we're ready to understand ourselves internally, then we are able to conquer the environment. We're able to understand ourselves from the inside, and therefore be able to grow and mature in a spirituality sense to conquer the things in our life that have been probably the circle of life bothering us and stressing us and constantly breaking our stuff and giving us trauma and everything else. We're finally able to break through because we have all of the tools inside of ourselves, and when we're ready for them, we unleash them.
Yeah, good stuff. Good point, both of you. And when I read that specific line, the siege of Troy is symbolic account of the abduction of the human soul by the personality. You know, outside of being a victim, keyword in all of the shadows of the gene keys, okay? Because really it's being a victim of all. Yes, external. So we're a victim to the external, but also we're a victim to our own ego and to our own identity, which largely includes the past. You know, what we were told of in the past, what we believe is real from the past, and how our mind thinks from the past. So when I see this, besides, the beauty of cosmic design is it shows you your personality and your design. So there's a healthy thing there. Having said that, as I explain the science of the brain in its simplistic aspect, it's, you know, the servant, your executor, your thinker mind has become the master to the species, where they think they're that, as opposed to the conceiver and the intuitor, the I am presence, and the creator, which can vision anything and intuit anything, is in the midbrain. So it's getting back to who we really are, and that is the master state. And then the thinker and the executor and the rationality and even the individual identity that JARIN says he's a human and he's a personality and all this other stuff is, you know, it's part of the play, and I play with it, and it's part of who I am in this experience. But the real me is behind the screen. The screen isn't just what's in front of you, it's what your entire body, mind, emotional makeup is. That is the screen. Even your cosmic design, even though it's the original essence to me of moving into form, and so there's a uniqueness and a specific to it, it's still not the real you. The real you, it transcends all that. And so we want to start to shed the layers to where we get to the real I am presence and the real awareness that is us, as opposed to all these other personality complexes through karmic thinking and emotional triggers have us caught in loops and slavery.
That's for sure. Emily had a good question. Is it as simple as training yourself to choose love over fear as much as possible? Think it's as simple, guys?
Well, that can't hurt.
That's true. I think one thing is, what's your definition of love, right? And are you going to get caught up in the ego love as well? So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that. You got to watch out for example, giving love to someone or others who don't really love you, you know, or who, you know, are draining your energy, you know. So it's important to not give love out just any time or to just anyone, you know, because then you could potentially be empowering ego. If you love ego, then that ego is going to get a lot stronger, and that's going to be a lot worse for everyone involved, you know. So you do have to be, so there is some interesting, you know, I guess modifications of that.
And I think the most important thing is to love yourself. That self-love is really the most important. And then from there, surround yourself with people that you can love unconditionally and that they're going to love you back unconditionally. Not going to always find that, but try to find as much of that around you as possible. That's why we bring together families like this, family of light, you know, and like JARIN said at the beginning, Tina, you know, a family of light member. You know, we might not see her for a year, but when we see her pop up on the chat, we're like, yes, Tina, our family, our sister, you know, and, you know, that's just the way it is. And you got to surround yourself with great people, people that have the same bigger vision of growing and understanding and continuing to expand. Don't be around people that contract all the time. That is a bad place to be, because they're going to try everything they can to contract you as well.
Yeah, I just want to say I would add love and truth to it. It's true. Love is the fuel, and love is all, away from fear. I mean, that's, you know, within the I Ching and the Gene Keys, they're talking to you about, you know, not being in fear. But love is only part of the equation. To me, the yin and the yang, right? And it's truth, it's honesty, it's realness. You know, it's realness in the now. And while we are in these carbon-based bodies, which have we are dying every second of our life until we transform into the crystalline light body, which many of us are going to do in this life. But while we are in that process, we are wasting time, wasting energy. So one thing about this cosmic design is it's to help you, you know, be efficient with your energy, efficient with your time, so that in the quantum field of infinite possibilities, right, you're on your path that's the highest for you, as opposed to, you know, doing things that may come from saving, for example, instead of serving, and waste time and waste energy and hold you back from inevitably what the also preaches here is our inner purpose, right? The purpose, the hidden purpose stored in our DNA. This is what drives everything else. So relationships, wealth, health, all of them come from you living your purpose, your reason for being here, your present desire for what you want to experience. And you have a limited amount of time. So when you know your purpose, like, it's worth it to live it every moment. And that means being real and honest at times, is my point, instead of, you know, just loving every moment and accepting, like, I'm in jail and I'm fine because I love it. Oh, really? Well, I was at the beach today. So, you know, like, what's the difference? Well, I loved my jail. Oh, I don't think Nelson Mandela loved it. I think he just was able to grow within himself while he was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It wasn't his, he wouldn't choose it again. But it was something that he used as a tool. He said, all right, I'm here. I found myself in this circumstance. Now I'm going to make the best of this circumstance, and I'm going to grow and expand, continue to expand. But he wouldn't have chosen that every time. All right. Richard, would you like to go down to the next one?
Yeah, let's look at what's the next one here.
We got Adam here. Let's go down with Adam.
Yeah, talking about the prototypical Adam, you know, the first man, was also likened to the Pythagorean monad, which by virtue of its state of perfect unity could dwell in the Edenic sphere. Okay, and then when through a process akin to fission, the monad becomes the duad, the proper symbol of discord and delusion, the creature thus formed, the duad, you know, so now it's Adam plus the not self. That's the duad, the self and the not self together. The creature thus formed was exiled from its celestial home. Thus, the twofold man was driven from the paradise belonging to the undivided creation and cherubim and a flaming sword were placed on guard. You gotta guard that thing, man, at the gates of the causal world. Consequently, only after the reestablishment of unity within himself can man regain his primal spiritual state. So once again, we have the theme of the self and the not self. And, we see here, when they are existing together, when you allow your ego, your not self, to exist alongside your true self, then, metaphorically, you're being exiled from Eden, exiled from the cosmic harmony. That's what all this is about, because the cosmos does not cooperate with the ego in any way whatsoever. And so the more ego that you allow in yourself, the more you allow it to control and dictate your actions, the more you go into these shadow states, these shadow feelings, the more and more further you are from, the cosmos, Eden, paradise, heaven, whatever you want to call it. Discord and delusion. I love that. The duad, the two, the symbol for discord and delusion, which is what it's like to live as the ego. Your life is full of delusion and discord.
So if we stop choosing the ego, we end up back in paradise. Is that what we're saying here?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
but so many people, they unconsciously choose the ego because it's all that they've ever known.
Absolutely.
They don't even know that it is ego.
Yeah. Heaven on earth is just in the chat there. Absolutely. The stairway to heaven, and that's what we have to continue to do. That's why it's the Great Awakening going on right now. We have been living under the egoic ruling of even ourselves. So don't always blame it on, the latest government or the, authority figures or the hidden government. You have to blame it on humanity itself. We chose this ego, and we chose to continue to listen to it and continue to raise our children on it, generation after generation after generation, and getting further and further and further from the true self. And now the Great Awakening has come. Probably over the last 10, 20 years, the momentum has been pushing towards this Great Awakening. And really what it is we're now being bigger than our ego now. We are saying, no, we're gonna have a more 50-50 balance here. We're gonna be a little bit more our true selves and not so much the ego and all of the wonderful things that come with it, like jealousy, envy, competition, all that stuff, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This next one here, it's, I didn't even realize this, but, chess, it's talking about chess, is also a metaphor for this same self versus not self ego thing. It says here, the white king and his suite symbolize the self and its vehicles. The black king and his retinue, the not self, the false ego and its legion. The game of chess thus sets forth the eternal struggle of each part of man's compound nature against the shadow of itself. The nature of each of the chessmen is revealed by the way in which it moves. Geometry is the key to their interpretation. For example, the castle or the rook, I suppose, moves on the square, on a square. It's square. The bishop stands for the emotions. It moves on a slant. So, it's not always straight. It can kind of go off, off kilter. The king represents the spirit, and it cannot be captured, but loses the battle when so surrounded that it cannot escape. It makes a lot of sense. The different chess pieces represent different parts of our nature. And yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, that the game of chess, even the game of chess, is a hidden allegory, a metaphor for this essential battle that's going on inside each and every person between, as it says, our compound nature and the shadow of itself.
Well, I think a lot of us out there, if we really look into ourselves, we feel like there's a battle inside of ourselves for sure. And we have this internal voice, right? That's a lot of times putting us down, not telling us we're not good enough. When we go to try to do something, it's already telling us how we failed. So we have a lot of that. And then we feel like I feel like I have a lot of different pieces in there, right? Ones that can move this way or move that way, or ones that are limited, that only can move one space at a time, right? And so, we have a lot of this going on. I can see that we have a game of chess inside of ourselves.
Yep. And I'm just thinking of this in terms of the aspect of meditation again, which will move me into talking about contemplation, which we always speak of on the show. But the point of meditation is so that you can properly view your different parts, from a balanced, higher perspective, so that your mental or emotional or physical or even auric and causal, you could go on and on, but let's stick with mental, emotional, physical, so that they're not imbalanced or running you, which is what's going on. We've lost control of the suit, so now when we meditate and move into contemplation, which is great because it's, Richard Rudd will talk about, not being overly focused, but also not having no mind, the Buddhic principle of no mind. It's in the middle. It's using left and right brain hemispheres equally and contemplating. And when you contemplate, you can get epiphanies, you capture ideas from a holistic standpoint and in a more of a balanced state of being. So we have to step back away from our own chess. You could sit there and look at them and say, oh, this is this piece, this is this piece, this is that. Where am I too ingrained, or where am I not putting any attention into? Because energy is so important. When we talk about switching frequencies and the gene keys, higher frequency aspects, and we talk about getting back to the harmonious universe right now, right? We can always shift back to it. Okay. It's always there to help us. That's half the game, the frequency, but energy is half the equation. So we have to get our energy properly strong, properly vital, because that's what determines the rate of our vibration. Vibration is the marriage between the two of these. So we want all of our energy fields engaged and balanced. And that's what's going to take us higher and higher and higher in terms of the dimensional scale of what heaven is to us. Because someone could be present to their own heaven, but if your vibration is really low, you're getting a much lower spectrum of what that means. When your vibration is higher, you'll have a much higher perspective of what that means. But your energy centers all need to be utilized, just like the 9 centers in cosmic human design. There's balance needed within your internal to external self and all the parts to it.
Yeah, and I think that as human beings, we tend to go extreme with a lot of things, right? And I know a lot of extreme people, right, that are extreme drinkers. When they go to drink, they drink everything they can and just plaster themselves. And I'm like, wow, what is going on in their mind? Why would you do that? And then you got the gym rat that goes to the gym 7 days a week, won't miss a day. And you're like, why are you doing that? You need time to recover. Again, we need to find balance. We need to find internal, messaging and breathing. Learn to breathe. Just learn to breathe. When things are going rough, sit back, take 3 deep breaths, and just say, wow, that's a little better. Because we just overdo everything and we are extremists. There's people that are jobaholics, can't stop working. And there's people that are, even spiritual people can be overdoing spirituality. They're way on the other side. They have no balance in their life. So, be careful there, everybody. Find balance in your life. A big one. A big one. All right, Richard, we almost got through everything, but
yeah, right.
you did
Great
really
stuff.
well. Yes, that was awesome. Really enjoyed all of that, and I think the audience did as well.
Yeah,
Really,
it's just very
cool.
interesting to me that the Human Design Corporation, Jovian Archive, would choose to use the same image as on this book. That Ra would choose that, and then come to find out when we're going through these quotes, it actually he's talking a lot about the self versus the not self, which is exactly in what human design is all about. So
Wow. So
it's
even
just
he
kinda mind-blowing.
maybe even he learned from some other books, some other people's information. You never know.
Yeah, you never know, is right. Really cool. Really interesting.
Plagiarism. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Emily says she's an extremist. Yeah, I got back that off a little bit. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us for the Cosmic Human Design podcast this week. We are on every other Wednesday night live. There are chat boards. So you guys can write in and have fun and meet new people, like-minded people on the chat boards. You can go to cosmichumandesign.com and get your free Cosmic Human Design chart. That's always a handy-dandy thing. And if you want to work with coaches, you can work with JARIN or Richard. You can get a hold of them and work with them one-on-one for more details on Cosmic Human Design. But you can also, once you got your Cosmic Human Design, you can jump on Google and look up human design stuff. As long as you have the correct power pyramid, you're going to be able to see and understand a little bit better about what's going on with you. And really cool stuff. All right, everybody. I hope you guys had a great time, and we will see you next time. This is the Cosmic Human Design Podcast. Signing out.